Oh no.
For class today, we are painting the pear.
Yay.
We said we would paint the pear.
I love the pear.
And in preparation of painting the pear, I have taken some photos of one of my pears in different settings. And I want us to look at those, and then we can pick the one that we want to paint. I have an idea of which one I would like us to paint, but I thought we would start with a little bit of studying the pear before we actually paint it. Oh, this is something else. This is something else.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so painting the pear in acrylic. And so what I did is I photographed the pear in pairs. Ooh, boom, boom.
That was good.
But what I did in doing so, and this is a great example, is I changed the color that's on the left. So on the pear that's on the left, you can see there's a black panel on the left of the pear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Whereas on the pear on the right, there is like a red panel or some kind of a red thing on the left of the pear. Well, now look at the light or the shadow area of the pear. So compare the two.
Yeah, the black versus orangey brown.
Right. So if you look at the left side of the pear here, compare this with the left side of the pear here, you can see a major difference. And how when there's a black panel, it creates this very dark area of the shadowy side of the pear. Whereas if there is a red panel, then the shadow area of the pear, it's darker than the lit side, but we can see colors and we can better see shapes in there. So this is a good example of reflected light. The reason that the pear on the right-hand side, this one, has its shadow side not half as dark as the other pear is because the light that's hitting this, we'll say red panel, is then hitting the pear on the left-hand side and created this nice orangey shadowy color. So this happens whenever you're painting, that it will, reflected light will influence the color that you see on the objects, be it the shadow side or the lit side.
Yeah.
Now here, there is a red panel, which we don't see, and the red panel is on the right-hand side. The thing that I did change here is the back panel of the pear. So with a back panel that is black, we almost lose the edge of the pear here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is called a lost edge, or in this case, an almost lost edge. Whereas here, we don't lose the edge because the back panel is so light. But in both cases, there is a kind of an orange tinge to the white that is around the pear, and that is due to the reflected light from, are you with us, Leslie? Or are you doing something?
I just want to write this down fast. Reflected light, nothing else.
Okay.
I'm trying to...
So the orangey color comes from the panel that's off the screen, that's to the right of the pear, and it's creating this reflecting this orangey tone to the overall white of everything that's around the pear.
It's on the left, isn't it?
It's on the right-hand side in this case.
Oh.
Yeah. Because if I were
but the sun is still coming from the left.
Yes, the light is still coming from the right.
Okay.
Yes.
So you don't see a shadow at all.
Well,
on the black.
Yeah, this Yeah, it's too dark to see
Yeah.
any kind of shadow. The shadow is very faint anyway. If you see here on the right-hand side,
Yes.
it's very hard to see the shadow
Yeah.
because it's so faint.
What's
But-
up in the right? What's up in the right-hand corner? What's that little blotch?
This,
No, way up in the corner.
Way up on the top.
Top
Yeah.
right. Yeah, what's
Yeah.
that?
this,
That's just shadowy?
yeah, well, see this here,
I was gonna
he's
say.
reflecting right here, and it's reflecting
Ah.
double.
Yeah.
And this is
Interesting.
it's just because we're moving away from the light source, then it's
Yeah.
getting a little darker.
Darker. Okay. Tricky.
It is tricky.
All right, this is another example.
That can't be a real pear.
No, it's a plastic pear that I have.
Uh-huh.
But the good thing with the plastic pear is it doesn't change. If we start painting in this week
Right.
and we
It
paint
doesn't
it again
rot.
next, it doesn't rot. All right, so what's happening here? So in this one, again, I have the black panel on the right-hand side and the red panel okay, wait. So the black panel is always on the pear that's on the left-hand side, and the red panel is always on the pear on the right-hand side. Now, in this case, the light comes from right in the front of the pear. That's why we don't really see any kind of shadow.
Right.
The shadow is completely behind us. You can kind of
Yeah.
see a little bit this
Totally.
here. It's this that's so far away that is completely diffused. But the part that I want to bring your attention to is this part of the pear. See this color here compared to this
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
So now,
Black, orange.
yeah, this is a lot darker here
Green.
and greener than in here, where it's a lot lighter and kind of like a mix between green and orange. The panel that is on the right-hand side of the pear is orange here. Whoops, sorry. Is orange on the right-hand side. And on the right-hand side of the left pear, there's also the panel, it's black.
It's amazing.
So it creates a different shadowy area that is on the right-hand side of the pear. Now on the left-hand side of the pear, both pear looks pretty much the same. I didn't change anything that's happening to the left of the pear. Another example. This is a lot more subtle, but you can see with the background, how this background here is a lot cooler than the background on this one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Whereas for the shadow, it's very subtle, the difference that you see between this one and this one. But it is clear to me, and I don't know if you see it through Zoom, but on this pear that is on the right-hand side, the shadowy portion is a lot warmer in
Yeah.
a dark
it is.
tone than
You're right.
this one. This one's a lot cooler. And that's because I put a black panel here to the right of this pear, and then the orange panel here to the right of this pear. Now the light source is from the left. That's why we can see the shadow clearly here on the right of the pear.
Can you explain the double stem shadow?
No,
Yeah, because it's there.
I do not know why this is happening. What I can tell you though, let's see, I do a little closer. So if we look at this here. So do you see how the shadow of the pear, there's
Mhm.
one shadow that's very clear and quite dark, but there are some like phantom
Yeah.
shadows that we also see. Well, those phantom shadows is what we see on the stem.
Huh.
How do I explain those phantom shadows? I have no clue. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know that much about shadows, but
Well,
this is why this is happening. It may be that in the room where I took these photos, there's more than one light source. So the light source that was close to the pear creates the dark shadow here.
oh, yes.
And then another light source that's much further away creates the other phantom shadows that are a lot lighter, very indistinct. And that's what would happen with the stem, because the
That's
stem is a
fascinating.
very small thing. So, and it's very far away from the background. So that's why it cannot create a very sharp shadow.
I'm amazed that how dark that back panel was. By just putting the light, it goes away. I mean, there's no black there, really.
It's not a black, no. The background here and
Yeah.
here is white.
Okay, I know that, but over here, to the right of it, isn't it black on the left?
This panel here,
No.
No, to the right,
To the right of it, over to the right.
the other wall.
Was
Right.
that a black panel?
yeah, you
Okay.
can't see it. So if I go to the photo,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, that's amazing. Huh.
so if I go to the photo, which one is it? I can't, yeah, you can't see it. But basically, see, you can see it a little bit in this one. See, you can see
Yeah,
it.
yep. I see how you did it. I see
Right.
how you did it. Okay. Okay. Stupid
All right.
question.
But that was a very good question. Now, did you notice how, I'm gonna go closer again. See how the shadow in this area here is much lighter than the shadow
Down below.
down below here on the table. So if we were to, paint the shadow on the table, shadow is not the same tone. It's much darker here in front of the pear compared to the shadow behind the pear. In the front, the pear is lighter than the shadow on the table. In the back, the pear is darker than the shadow on the table. So those little things will make a big difference when you draw or you paint the pear. So observing the subject matter and comparing. So which one is the darkest? Is it this one? Is it the pear or is it the background? And here the same question asked, is it the pear or is it the table?
Yeah.
So you have to ask this. And right here in between, there is a lost edge because that's where the table and the pear are almost the same tone.
Wow.
Yeah. When we paint the pear later, those are all things that are going to resonate in your head. You're going to hear my voice, even though I won't be talking.
Soothing.
All right, the next one. This one.
Ooh.
So in this case, it's a little bit, I mean, it's the same thing that I repeated over and over and over, but in, a little slightly different each time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
in this case, again, the panel is on the right-hand side of the pear. In this case, the panel here is black and the panel here is orange. And the main thing that we can see is that the background is a little warmer here, although because this section is so dark, it almost looks cool. The light is almost facing the pear. We can hardly see the shadow. We can see a little bit of shadow on the right-hand side, but not a whole lot. And if we look on the table, see, there's this light area in the shadow that's right close to the pear here, compared to the shadow on the table in the front of the pear. And the shadowy area of the pear is slightly warmer, but the difference between the two is very, very minute.
Yeah.
Now, see, I would have assumed that pear was next to a black panel.
Yeah,
The one on the right-hand side?
Yes, because
Yeah.
the whole background is gray instead of that nice warm
Right.
brown color.
Well, the panel is on the right-hand side. If I had said the panel's on the left-hand side, I would agree with you, but the panel's on the right-hand side. So
Okay.
that's the side from which there is reflected light. Now, this side of the pear, interestingly enough, is also creating some kind of a shadowy area. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it's dark.
Yeah.
yeah.
Same here. Yeah. But it's very
Okay.
dark against the background.
It almost looks lavender on the right side of the background, like a light lavender to me. I mean,
Yes.
a light,
Yes.
very light lavender.
Yeah, a very light grayish.
Yes.
Yeah.
lavender.
Very light.
And this is also seen on this area of the shadowy section of the pear.
Yeah.
So if I were to make it bigger, let's see, like so.
Gray on the left and lavender on the right, to me.
Look at this. Look at this area here. That's
Yeah.
closer to the wall is lighter than this. There's some kind of a gray here. This is reflected light. Same thing underneath here, almost lavender-like or powder blue-like. And these
Yeah.
are reflected light. So
It's
all of
amazing.
these elements are very important when painting like a pear or any object, to look at, to really see, try to observe and see, where do I see reflected light and what do I see? Like you saw some lavender and you saw some gray, and those are all
Wow.
very excellent observations.
I like
So
that one.
now that we have seen all these pears, we need to select which one we want to paint from. I mean, we can pick this one if that's the one that you like, Leslie. Do you have a preference, Janet?
Janet,
Or
what
do
do
you
you
want to
like?
see them all again?
Yeah, let's look at them again.
Yeah, Janet, you pick
They're all
this.
so interesting.
It's amazing how the light and the panels change everything.
Yes. So if you say no, that means none of the above, and I just move to the next. We'll just identify each identify two that you really like, and then we'll pick from these four.
No, I don't like either one of those.
No,
No.
no.
No. I like the one on the right.
The right, yes.
I like that one.
I do too. I find the background very
Peachy.
limited.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
it
don't
is.
see the table, we don't see the shadow hardly. So that could be, it's not my first choice.
Janet, you pick.
You mean for our second?
No, no.
Yeah.
So yay or nay on this one? Okay, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
What about this one?
Yay.
That's nice.
I like that one. Yeah.
All right,
Both of
so
them I like.
yeah, I like this one on the right-hand side here.
I do
So
too.
this one or
That one.
this one?
Oh, it's too much decision making.
Yeah, I think I really like this one here.
Okay, let's do that one.
Janet, do you
Alright.
like it though?
Oh, yeah.
All
I
right.
like all pairs.
Okay.
I gotta practice. Kevin's the king of pears.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So this is the one that we picked. No, that's not the one that we picked.
Mm.
This is the one that we picked, but I'm gonna crop back in.
So are we sketching on paper or just going right to the
Oh,
canvas?
yes, we're gonna have some fun.
So I should I
Sketchbook?
take and tape this to a board?
That
This
would be a
canvas
good idea.
paper?
Yes, that would be a good
I
idea.
have acrylic or what? This must be watercolor.
You know what I noticed, Claire, is when I rip it off the pad, there's strings.
Yes.
I can't rip it off very good.
I guess you're just,
So now that I have my canvas that you see right here,
Mm-hmm.
I have on my palette, I have my titanium white, primary yellow, alizarin crimson for my red, in ultramarine blue for my blue. And I can see the pear. It's on display right here in front of me on the screen. I know you can't see it, but you will get a chance to see it later. And it's
Can I ask a question?
yes.
When you take your paint, I tend to put too much paint. Do you just use the end of your paintbrush and take a little bit and mix it?
Yes.
Okay, can you show us when you go
When I
to,
mix my paint, yes, absolutely.
that would be a
So
big,
to mix the paint and to do the initial drawing, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this small brush. It's pretty small. See if you compare with the size of my finger. This is a filbert. It's one of my favorite. If you don't have this, you can also use like maybe a small flat brush. You can also use a small round brush. Or if you feel like comfortable enough, you can use a bigger brush like this larger filter. Almost as wide as my finger. So I'm going to use this small filbert and show you how I start. So I usually do my drawing with some kind of an orange color that I mix, and I do the drawing on the canvas with a very watery color, so that I draw it. It's very faint, and it's just an indication of where the shapes are. And when I paint over it, this line will completely disappear. So when I paint over it, if I want to change the original shape that I started with, I could always do so. Now, first I wet my brush in my water, and then I'm going to take a lot of yellow. So I put it right here like this. Can you see?
yep,
Yeah. And then with the tip of my brush, I put my brush on the palette, and then I take a little bit like this, not too much. I don't go like this. Just take a little bit on the tip of the brush. See, I only took a little bit of the red, and I mix it with all of this yellow, and I get some kind of a very light color. I add more water by dipping my brush into the water. I'm making it very, very watery. Now this color would be the color I would use. Let's see if I show you the color on this. Oops, this is, so this would be the color I might use usually, but to make sure that it's dark enough for you to see on the camera, I'm gonna add a little bit more of my red. See how I do this? I just take a little bit here.
little
I don't
bit,
go like this.
yeah.
I want to make this a little darker just to make sure that you guys will see when I put it on the canvas. So now this is the color that I'm gonna draw my initial. So
It's pretty orange.
like orange, the orange that we have. So this is the color that we're going to use. Now you could use this color, which is lighter and therefore easier to color. But just to make sure that you can see what I draw, then I'm using this. Now I'm directing the camera towards the canvas so you can see it. And I have a very watery color paint that I'm going to do all my drawing with. So I'm looking at the pear, and I'm going to indicate here, start by indicating where the bottom of the pear will be. And
Is your paper's
Bigger.
horizontal, not vertical? Oh, it is vertical. Okay.
It's vertical. So this is the format that we're painting, because the pear's tall and we're going to do a big pear.
Okay.
So I want to indicate where the bottom of the pear is, because I want to make sure that once I don't draw a pear that will go all the way very close to the edge, because then we're going to say that the pear is kissing the edge, and that's not a very solid composition. So I put it there like probably 2 inches above the bottom, where my tape is, so that I know I will have a little area here where I'm going to put the shadow, and it will still be enough room to breathe between the object and the bottom. So I just put a line to indicate where the bottom of the pear is, And then I'm going to put a line to indicate where the top of the pear will be. So I know that there is the stem. The stem, if I were to put the top of the pear up here, then there would be not enough room for the stem. So I have to probably put it like maybe 3 inches or 4 inches lower. So this will be the top of my pear. And then I know I have enough room for the stem. You know, that will be probably like this. Okay, so this is the size of my pear. Now the shape, the overall shape of the pear is a round circle at the bottom with a little hat on top. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little round circle like this. The overall shape. That's what I start with. So circle at the bottom and then a hat on top. Now I'm realizing that my hat will be a little bit to the right because this is the way that the pear is. So now I'm going to put my little hat.
Oh,
And now I have my pear. But right now, the hat part is pretty much centered on top of the circle. And when I look at the example that I'm seeing on the screen, it's not quite centered that way. So what I do when I want to make a correction, and then I realize, see, my stem is completely off. So I'm going to clean my brush completely, dry it on my paper towel, clean it, dry it. Then using a little bit of water on my brush, I'm going to erase my stem so that it does not confuse me.
oh,
See? Because
yeah.
I didn't put any kind of medium in my color, it's easy to do. When I do this, there's a little bit of a tinge of a color here, but it won't bother me. Eventually, this will be all covered up, so it doesn't matter. Now's my chance to, so done an initial drawing, and I can see that this is not quite the shape that I would like. The top part is a lot more pointy on my photo, and it's more to the right of the circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the circle a little bit to the left. When I do this, now I want to modify a little bit the color that I'm using to do my drawing so that I see the difference. I'm going to grab just a teeny little bit of blue like this, just a teeny little bit of blue, add this to my color. And now I get a color that is, where's my little testing strip? That is more like this, which will be sufficiently different from the initial orange that I will know that now this is the new line that I want to use.
That's a green, isn't it?
Yeah, it gave me kind of a green, yes. So I want to move the pear a little bit more to the right, to the left, sorry, like this. And then this will go more like this. I'm looking at the photo, and that's how I'm being guided here.
That's a good brush.
Yeah, any brush will do this.
It's short. That's what I like.
Yeah, mine's too long.
No, it's a long
No,
brush.
I mean the bristles are short.
Bristles.
Oh, this?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, any brush will do this, will work.
Because I have a filbert, but it's much longer. The brushes are much longer.
The hair part, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I come down here on the side. Goes a little lower here. And then it goes like this. So, okay. So now this is pretty much what I have. Sometimes it helps if I just go with certain angles on the pear.
I'm pretending.
Or like this. So now I'm adding even more blue because I want to make it more precise.
And it's still watery, right?
Still very watery.
I gotta get used to doing that.
This goes like this. Sometimes it helps when you just look at the angles that you see. And then my stem goes here, like this. Just indicating it. This is not necessarily the definite drawing of the stem. And now that I'm pretty satisfied with the drawing of my pear, then I'm going to indicate the background line. The background line's about like this. So I'm getting the inclination that I have. It's about like this. So the background line goes like this, and I can even draw it through the pear just to make sure it's a straight line. And then I have this. That comes
It's
down.
on a diagonal though, right? It's diagonal.
It's,
Oh, no, I see. Okay.
yeah, it's slightly diagonal. You're right.
It's on a table.
Like this. So now I have this drawing that looks a little funny.
No, but
And you know what I'm realizing is this line is almost in the middle of my canvas. But I think I'd like to move it down a little bit to do a smaller table and a longer background wall. So I am going to lower this line a little bit. So I keep going with the same color. I'm just going to lower it to down here. Oh, it won't be dark enough.
So you're not trying to erase what you did.
I will erase, but first I draw the new line. Like so. This goes like this. And this will disappear. Now that I have my new line, because I know that this is the right angle. So if I erase it first, then
Right.
it won't work. So I'm just going to erase like
it's
so.
water. Huh.
Because it's still wet, it's very easy to erase it. And
That can be blended too.
yeah, you can just blend it with the background. And just make sure that you erase those lines that you don't want. Because
cool.
otherwise you might get confused with all of this. So now, by lowering it just a little bit, it makes it more of, you know, it could be lowered even a little bit more to make it more interesting. Because right now what's happening is it's cutting the round part of the pear in half.
Yeah.
So it could be lowered just a little bit more. So I'm going to lower it even more. And
Yeah. So that's maybe a third of the way up the pear.
right.
Yeah.
It's a third of the way up the canvas is what I'm trying to do.
This is like dry brushing, having it watery enough that you can just wipe it off.
Yeah. Well, when you wipe it off, your brush has to have some water on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this line here. Just a little lower. And now if I go like this. So because it's so watery, it's very easy to erase. Just with a little bit of water, not dripping water, just a little bit of a wet brush. And then you can easily erase it. I mean,
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah,
I do too.
this is a little bit better balance, and I actually don't need the line that comes down here, or I could add the line that comes down, but I don't think that we need it. So this will just be a straight line like this. And now I know that this line matches with this line. I can erase this whole middle part. Because you know how it is, you draw a little line here and a little line here, and they don't line up.
Right.
And then your teacher says, did you line them up? So this is a good way to make them line up. And then you can just go like this.
God, I love that technique.
And now
Oh, wow, that's
they line
great.
up completely.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love
And
the
this-
shape.
See,
That is
this is still wet. I could erase it even more if I wanted to.
You know, when you color it, you'll blend in the colors, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I could also try to erase the old, you know, the initial drawing that I did, but I don't necessarily have to. Maybe I'll remove this because I really don't need it. But so this is how I would start. And then now I can look at this drawing. I can look at my pear, and I can still make changes if I want to. So for example, I can see that the round part, and compared to this top part, could be a little larger. So I could, if I wanted to, adjust it before I go on to painting it. So for example, I think it would be better if it were like this. And when doing so, the important thing is to use a slightly darker color. So you know that the darkest the color is, this is more like the color that you want. So now I've added a little bit more of the blue and the red to my color to make it a little darker, and to know that, okay, this is what I really want to use. This one goes like this. This is pretty good, but I think it goes more like this. Yeah. So I think I like this better. Yeah. So before I start painting, then I've decided this is the shape of my pear, and you know, with the table. And as I paint it, I can also make readjustments. It's not set in stone that it has to be exactly like the original drawing, but this is the initial part. So do you want to try this one on your own?
Sure.
My thing is learning how to put the paint on. Not too much.